Hi everyone, it's Katie, and today I wanted to kind of do a month or first month in my Hobonichi's kind of update for you. At the beginning of the year I kind of discussed what planners I had going on for 2019, and the Hobonichi system is very new to me and I was loving it at the time, but I kind of expressed that I wasn't entirely sure what I was going to be doing with my A6. And of course, because it's also new, I was also, I guess a little part of me knew that maybe it wouldn't work for me. But I'm loving it, and I just wanted to kind of go through everything and share with you what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and why I'm loving it. So we will start with what is really kind of like the crux of my whole planning system. This is the weeks, and this is what I take with me. Like every day it's in my bag. It's always on my desk. It's just the one that kind of houses everything that I need to know, everything that I am doing, all of that good stuff. As with last time, I still just have my Pilot Metropolitan in extra fine here that I kind of just keep with it. I had a few questions about basically everything I have comes from the Hobonichi website as far as like the Hobonichis and the covers are concerned, including this little, I don't know what this is called, but it's like a little, just keeps it closed. So if you're interested in this stuff, you're just going to have to look at the Hobonichi website basically. Same with this pencil board and everything. But let's just have a bit of a look what's going on for me. So everything's still pretty much as was as far as like the monthlies are concerned. It's just me kind of taking note of my appointments that are coming up. Pretty simple. Another question I had was about like the triangles and things, which I'll discuss a little bit more when we get to the actual weeklies, which start here actually. So we started in November on the 26th. So I've actually been in the weeks for closer to 2 months actually. I'm filming this a little bit before the end of January because I'm going away, but it's close to a month into the year. So basically I'm still using this how I was, pretty much. I think we got up to maybe this one last time around. But yeah, basically what I've been doing is I use a few little stickers here and there, maybe a stamp or two, that I'll put in, kind of at the end of the week before when I'm kind of writing in the appointments from the monthlies that I know I already have. But other than that, I don't really do a lot. I kind of just let it develop throughout the week. As for this side of the page where the actual days are, this is where I kind of put just day-specific stuff. Like I have appointments, or like particular things that we're doing, or I had the Doctor Who New Year's special when it was coming out in Australia, and that's my really bad attempt at doing a TARDIS. I also just, when things kind of pop up, or, something arrived, or I purchased something that day, just whenever, like anything that is specific to a day, I put on this side of the page. Usually that is like events or appointments, but occasionally if something's really important that I do, like a task, I will put it on here. But for the most part, that's what this side of the page is for. Tasks. That's why I have like just running tasks list for the week. I also kind of keep track of like things that I've sent, and also because a big New Year's resolution for me this year was to read more, I'm kind of like having like a reading list at the bottom of each page. Although I started out strong and I'm falling a little bit behind again, but that's okay. That's kind of, I'm reserving this little spot at the bottom of each week to kind of hopefully keep me going, at least for the most part throughout the year. So yeah, this is kind of what just happens on a weekly basis in my little journal that I got going on. So each time, it looks a little bit different. Sometimes I might separate the tasks list just because we've been, doing a lot of cleaning. I have to tick a few more of these off, but yeah, like sometimes if there's like kind of a big project that we're doing for the week, or that I'm doing for the week, I might separate, so I can kind of see what's going on. But that doesn't happen all of the time. Sometimes I'll kind of pop in little stickers after the fact. Like I went out with a friend, you know, so I put a cute little sticker in because I had time and I felt like it. Blair and I had our date, so I put it, like, you know, so some stickers will come in after the fact, but for the most part I just put a few cute little things in at the beginning of the week. Yeah. So this is our current week, which is why we have the pencil board here. So, you know, today is Tuesday, which is why, you know, this is a lot less full, basically, because, you know, it kind of, I've added a couple of things in since Monday, but for the most part, this is kind of how it starts out. I've written in YouTube stuff because I'm going away, so I kind of wanted to try and do a couple of videos. These are some videos that I might want to do. Obviously, we're filming one of those right now. So I have a couple of videos, you know, for while I'm away, because I'm away for a little while. But yeah, so like at the end of the week, this page will look a little bit more full, like these weeks. But for now, like, it starts out pretty chill. One of the questions I got was what these little triangles were and things. So for me, I use basically the bullet journaling system. I spent so much time in the bullet journal that, you know, it's kind of really, like, I just think it's great and efficient, and it's how my mind works basically these days. So for me, perhaps where's a better example? This one's all right. We have a few different little symbols here. So for tasks, I put a dot, and when it's complete, I cross it out. If I decide I don't want to do it anymore, I kind of put a line through it. If I'm kind of putting it to schedule it for another time or putting it in a different list or something, I'll use an arrow. As for kind of more stuff that's going on, the upwards triangle, like this one, that is for an appointment. So like a timed thing that's happening. For squares, that's for me for just work. So it's still a timed thing, but that way I can just see that that's what I'm doing for work. I use circles for more like events. So that might just be like a thing that's happening that day, like the fourth cricket test was starting that day. Sometimes I'll put like a little $sign if I've bought something. This is a little house because it was a house inspection. It's not a very good one, but you know, it does the job. And then I have this kind of sideways facing arrow, which is essentially the YouTube play button or whatever, because I've been premiering videos lately, testing out the Premiere feature. So it's kind of a little bit more important that I know when my video is going up and what time, as opposed to just scheduling them and checking in every now and then, because I have to kind of be there for the premieres. So that's what those are. So that's kind of my little system. Like, there's a few different little points that I have, or bullets that I have, that just kind of make it a little bit easier for me to see what exactly these things that I've noted down are, which is just helpful. And sometimes I'll write like a little love heart instead if it's like a date or something. But for the most part, those are kind of that's my little system. And for the most part, I think that's pretty true to the bullet journal system. I might have changed a few around or added a few. I don't think they have a YouTube button. But yeah, that's kind of where it stems from. So those are my weeklies. As I said, this is this week. This is what's going on next week. So that's like how a thing starts out. I've already done it because I'm going to be away. And then we head to the back I have the week's mega, which means I have a lot of spare note pages. So here we have my index. So again, this is basically like a more traditional bullet journal in the back of my book, because I did love the bullet journal system so much. So we have I start with just some important dates and things, because a lot of these I actually don't know, because Facebook tells me for the most part. So this year I want to actually write them down as they happen, so I have a record. So it was Granny's birthday recently. I have my tarot deck collection, and I've recently done a video on both my tarot and oracle deck collection, so you can watch those if you want. My tarot wish list is pretty short at the moment. I have kept track of my fountain pens, when I got them, where I got them from, and how much I paid for them. So I have a total of 6 right now, and I don't really want any more for now. But yeah, I just thought, a lot of people say that you'll start forgetting, and I know that with tarot, a lot of my tarot decks, I have forgotten when I got them and where and whatever. So I thought I don't intend on having 100 fountain pens, but then again, I didn't intend on having 50 tarot decks, so who knows. But I just thought that was a good thing to have. Then I have some video ideas. I just write down pretty much anything and everything in my video ideas list. A lot of them I'll never do, but I just think it's good to write them down. This, I suppose, could be interesting for you other YouTubers out there. I'm not too stressed about this stuff, but I also just enjoy numbers and keeping track of stuff. So this isn't like, I just think it's really interesting, basically. So how I do this, this is kind of based off a video Lily Pebbles did, actually. Lily Pebbles is kind of like a lifestyle beauty vlogger from Britain. And she did a bullet journal video, and she kind of had kind of a similar, she didn't really have, it was different, but that's kind of where I got this idea from, and I've just changed it up a little bit. So I have like the video name, and I put in videos once I've kind of filmed them. You know, they're on my list or whatever and then when I filmed them, I used to have more like a monthly tracker thing, and I would draw out a month. You can have a look at my old bullet journal, but I just was always swapping stuff around too often. So instead I've just kind of kept this running list, which I think is more useful. So I have kind of like the name or just the regular, you know, topic of the video. Here I have page for like if it's a video that has a lot of notes, and like if I've written notes in here, which I do often, but I haven't really been doing those sort of videos lately, so there's no notes. And then here I have like the check off tasks, like kind of the big main steps of having a video up. So we have film, edit, upload, schedule, and I just cross them off when they're done. Here, because I've been testing this Premiere feature, it's a P means is it premiered or not, and I'm ticking when it is. The unsolicited advice video went up accidentally. I must have scheduled it and forgot to change it. And then I have like when, so the day, the time, and the date, because again, I just find all this interesting how these can change, impact, you know, who watches it and when or whatever. Although I haven't been experimenting so much with this stuff because I'm experimenting with that, if that makes sense. And then what I was also just kind of interested to see was I've been writing down how many views the video gets after the first hour, the first day, and the first week. Again, I just find it interesting how some videos kind of develop from there. I'm not too worried about the numbers, I just find them interesting. So yeah, that's a fun little thing. And then I also have like a subscribers chart thingy that I think is just also fun to have. It's pretty cool to see that you have that there's some growth there, but again, it's not a primary concern for me at all. Here I'm just writing down the books that I've read. I did really well at the beginning. I'm kind of stuck on one book at the moment, but that's okay. I'm not being too mean to myself over that, and I've been very ambitious and optimistic in reserving 4 whole pages for the books that I plan on reading. Here I have like the inks that I have, and I'm just kind of writing them down as I put them in my pens. I know you're supposed to do it other ways, but that's good enough for me. So basically whenever there's an ink in my pen, I'm just writing it here, so that I know what pens I have. And all of the the inks that I have at the moment are Pilot Irishizuku inks, because I got a couple of like the little 15mm sets, and I really like them. This I've just put in because Blair and I have been doing this thing where each month we each pick a date. Like sometimes we do other things, like we might go out for dinner, but each month we're each picking kind of like a thing that we do. And it might just be a picnic, or it might be something more interesting or something a bit different. And it's just been really good for us because it has been getting us out doing different things. Like this month, Blair took me for his date. We went to the NGV and saw the Escher Cross Nendo exhibition, and for mine we went and saw some weird trippy light show on the Dome cinema thing at the Science Works that was all set to the music of Pink Floyd. So it was just weird stuff that we normally wouldn't do, so that's been really good. So I thought I should probably start writing down some ideas as they pop up. And then this was just some notes I had to take at my psychologist yesterday. So that's all I have in here for now, but that is how it's working, and it's working really well for me. And so as I said, this is what I take around with me everywhere, which is great because it's so small and compact, and like I carry a little backpack wherever I go, and this fits wonderfully. So this is like my everyday catch-all, everything I need to know, what's coming up, what I'm doing, where I need to be. And notes as well, sort of a thing going on here, and it's working really well. Now we have my A6, so the original Techo. And I just have the green one with this plastic cover on cover with the dog, because I love dogs. And I have my like TWSBI Eco with it, just with black ink in it. Now this was the one that I said I wasn't 100% sure how I would use, if I would use it. And I've used it a lot, pretty much every day so far. And I'm just kind of, I don't know, it's the sort of one that, this is the one that sits on my desk, and in the morning I like have a look at my weeks and check what I need to do, and then I kind of write down. This is more like my brain dump, I suppose, for the day. So a lot of the time it's kind of like an extension of my specific tasks that I want to get done that day. Yeah, it's a nice way to kind of sit down and be like, what am I actually wanting to do today, sort of a thing. Here I tried to track there's a few things that I track, including like my mood and my sleep and stuff like that. And I tried to do it here, but I just found that I wasn't coming back and doing it regularly. So I'll show you what I've done instead. And I am tracking those things in here. So we'll go to the monthly, and I wasn't really sure what to do with this. So far what I've been doing is just writing in the videos. Like, this is kind of, I guess, my YouTube scheduler. I started wanting somewhere to write down just because I was doing a few of the 31 Days of Tarot Challenge videos. So I just found it helpful to kind of see everything laid out. So that's what this is at the moment. I don't know if it'll stay like that, but yeah, that's what it's doing at the moment. Now here on this kind of front page for each of the months, what I'm planning and what I've been doing so far is, this is where I've been writing my favorites for the month. So I've been kind of just flipping back to this page when something's popping up and I'm really enjoying it. And this is everything. It's books, it's stuff we've been up to, it's TV shows, it's music, it's whatever. So yeah, this has been a good little thing, because I always liked tracking this in my bullet journal as well. It was kind of like, it was a space on my monthly spread. And I wasn't really sure. I was thinking I was going to have to write up like a spread each month in the back of my weeks, but I don't know. This page seemed perfect for it. So that's what's going on there. So sometimes I've just been writing little things in here. But for the most part, it's more like what I've got going on, what I want to do. But if there's a day that I don't really write anything down, I tend to kind of create another list. That isn't really the sort of thing that I want long-term access to, because then I would put it in the back of my weeks as more a collection. But you know how there's sometimes just like notes that you pop up that you maybe want access to for a week or two, or maybe up to a month, but not really longer than that? Those are the sort of things that I'm writing on the pages where I don't take notes specific to that day. So that's how I've been using it so far. Now, as for the mood and stuff tracking, that's what these pretty colors up here are. So I'll just give you a bit of a look. Some days I don't write a huge amount, other days I write a little bit more. Sometimes it's more of a journaling thing, but for the most part, yeah, it's more of like just what's going on that day. Now up here, I'll explain a little bit more. These are still the colors that I've always used for these. And there's just these little, I suppose I should show you for the blank. There's this little extra section up the top of the Hobonichi, where we have like 5 check boxes and 5 lines that are kind of like above the rest of the main page. And I wasn't sure what to do with them, but then I've just decided this is my tracking. So A is activity, so that's physical activity that I do. Mood, M. Sleep, productivity, so just like stuff that I feel like I wanted to get done that I did. And then my energy levels. Now my mood, sleep, energy, and activity, I suppose as well, those are all really important for tracking my mental health, especially because a lot of the time, when those things start to change significantly, that's an indication perhaps of an early warning signs. If especially the energy and activity and mood are going up, that might indicate early warning signs of a hypomanic episode for me, which I have had to deal with recently and I'm kind of trying very hard to deal with right now. And if they're kind of going down, obviously that might be more depressive symptoms. So this has been really good. And I just kind of like, they're not, you know, there's not exact numbers, but it's just kind of like I just use, actually I should probably show you these highlighters. They're the mild liners. And I have several colors, and I just picked colors that I liked that kind of felt like they made sense for these different things that I'm trying to track. And so that's what I use. And basically they have two ends to them. They have this kind of more like tipped end, and then they have more like the flat, more traditional highlighter end. And they're pretty much perfect, this end, for the size of the lines in the Hobonichi. So that's handy. Yeah, so it's not like an exact scale, like it's not like a 5 out of 10 exactly or something. But it is like, I just kind of do what I feel kind of makes sense. And obviously this, I mentioned a long time ago with my mood tracking that this will be different for everybody. Because I have bipolar, my aim is not to have everything up here as high as possible. My aim is to more have it somewhere in the middle. Because if everything is up here all the time, then I'm probably manic. Like, that's not a healthy thing for me. Whereas if you don't have bipolar and you don't have to worry about mania, having stuff up here all the time might be a good thing. Like 10 out of 10 happiness for you might be really healthy. 10 out of 10 happiness for me, more than 2 or 3 days in a row, is not a healthy thing. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Like, you know, me being somewhere here is not a bad thing. It's actually a really good thing. Yeah, so that's just something to keep in mind, that like mood tracking will look different for everybody. So yeah, this is just kind of what's going on here. This was kind of more like a running list that we've been going back to, because Blair and I have been doing a big clean out of our house, as I know, or our little apartment, as I know a lot of people have. I like to do that at the beginning of each year anyway, because the days are long and it's sunny and I feel active, perhaps a little bit too active sometimes. As we can see here, I did start to I was doing a lot more. Again, these were 2 pages that I didn't really use, so I'm using as like kind of notes. And this is kind of where you can start to see some just a little bit too much going on for me, and my sleep's starting to dip. And these were notes that I took with my psychologist yesterday, because we noticed, especially yesterday, I was quite elevated, and I'm feeling quite elevated today as well. But I've done some mindfulness, and I'm trying very hard to do some relaxing things, and video making I suppose might not be exactly what she would want me to do, but it's better than me going for a run right now. Oh, I suppose the other thing was I've also added in at the bottom a P and red. That is just me tracking my period, and you know, if it's higher, that's like a heavier day, lower is a lower day. I just thought that was something that would be helpful to add in there as well. So yeah, this day I was really quite sick. I got a weird fever out of nowhere for a few hours, but then yesterday, Sunday night, I didn't really get much sleep, and then I woke up feeling very peppy. Peppy is what I called it. And so this is today, and so I haven't really filled this in completely, because obviously I haven't how much activity I get up to at the end of the day will depend on what I do, and I am going out and doing some stuff later this afternoon, and how productive I am will also, you know, I can't really judge that in the morning. But yeah, that's what's happening in here so far, and that's it. I am making I've made a very conscious choice not to kind of make notes ahead of time. Like if I have something like we're leaving for Canberra on Thursday. Is that Thursday? I think so. So I haven't written leaving for Canberra in here. I haven't written what appointments I have in. This is very much just like I open it up in the morning, do my mood stuff. And if I have a lot of stuff that I want to do, if there's a lot of stuff going on, I have appointments and I just want to kind of get clear in my mind, I write everything down here. Sometimes I don't write anything down like here. And so then I will come back and use this page for just more notes for other things like I did here. So I hope that makes sense. And again, I'm just using basically the exact same bullets, I suppose, as I have in my previous, in my weeks. I have kind of the same system. I don't write it down or anything. I've just been using it for so long that it just makes sense to me, and I keep using it. So that is that. And I don't have anything in my pockets or anything. I know that was another thing people were asking, but no, I don't really, because I pretty much just use my pens in here, and I have my little pencil case for that. And I'm actually surprised at how well this has been working, because as I said, this was one that I wasn't sure what I'd be doing, if it would work for me, but I love it. I love having just that space to open up fresh for the day, because yeah, like the weeks is great and I love it. And I suppose I could be doing a lot of this stuff in the back of the book, but I like having that back of the weeks as more like my notes, the collections that I'll be referring to long term, as opposed to just like the things that are only going to be relevant for the next week or two. And also just kind of that brain dump each morning of, okay, what do I actually need to do today? I just love it. I love that. And also, yeah, the mood tracking and stuff is really good too. So this has been working really, really well for me so far. And then the third notebook, the third Hobonichi that I have was, of course, my 5-year journal. This was what Blair got me for Christmas, was the Bloom gift set, with this beautiful, beautiful embroidered cover, and I just adore it. And for this one, I have my pretty new TWSBI Diamond 580. I got it because, you know, it matched, and because I loved my TWSBI Eco so much that I wanted to try another one. And I'm a little bit hooked on fountain pens. I'm trying not to kind of, I have another one that's just arrived, but other than that, I don't. I think I'm good for a little while. But anyway, this is beautiful. And I mentioned when I first showed you guys this that I was a little bit nervous that I would not be keeping up with it. And I have so far. I mean, I know it's only the end of January, but yeah, it has not been difficult at all, because it's such a small amount of space that it's just really easy, and I actually really quite enjoy it now. But I did want to show you briefly, because I did kind of talk about what I was planning to do with, you know, especially this side of the page. A lot of people in videos that I've watched aren't really sure what to do with this side of the page, and they kind of just figure their only option is to extend out and kind of use the same amount of space on this side for each day, so they kind of have double the space. That's not what I wanted to do at all. And actually, this page is what made me like this journal specifically so much, because in my mind, some days I would have a lot to say, or a lot I wanted to share, or a lot I wanted to kind of keep, and other days, like, you know, maybe, you know, next year the same day I will do nothing. So I actually really like that there's this extra kind of spare flexible space. And so for the 1st of January, I just wrote down a really lovely quote from the book that I was reading, If You Come Softly by Jacqueline Woodson. And this was the sticker that came with that book with the Life's Library. So I'm signed up to the Life's Library book club, and they kind of send you stickers along with the book. And so I wanted somewhere to put this beautiful sticker. And so that's what I did. And so yeah, some days I don't really, oh no, actually this was from the 4 Agreements, my bad. This was the sticker from If You Come Softly. So yeah, sometimes I write little quotes from things that I'm reading, other times I write more about my day. For the most part, it's more about my day. So yeah, here I've written about my day, but I really didn't do a lot that, you know, warranted more space. So this remains blank. So we just kind of continue through, and I'm just kind of writing, I don't know, summing up my day. For here, I wrote a quote from The Lucky Galah, because I was reading that book and really, really enjoying it, and I didn't really get up to much else that day. So I just wrote something that kind of quite moved me. I mean, it was quite a sad quote, but it was also quite beautiful, and I think it summed up the book quite well. Other days, I just, yeah, here I'm kind of writing more about what I've been up to. Here was the day that Blair took me to Esher and Nendo. And so I kind of wrote, there was a really cool quote from Esher that I really liked, and then, you know, just kind of described our day briefly. And then I cut out from the brochure. This was kind of like one of the installations that we saw, and like a brief little, so I've glued this one in, and then just sticky taped this on as kind of like a fold out. So, you know, there's still room for other stuff, but this was a really cool thing that happened that day, and so I wanted to kind of have something to show for it. So that's what I mean about this space. I think it's so great. Yeah, so the only day I've had to write the next morning was, I think, Saturday, because I was quite unwell Saturday night. And so I just, you know, I was in bed with a fever. So I didn't write in on Saturday, which is the only day I haven't written on the day. So I just did that on Sunday morning, because I think if you leave it too much longer, you probably, at least for me, I'm probably going to forget those little details that you actually want to keep track of, as opposed to just writing down more of, you know, just like a list of the things that you did or something. But yeah, this is the little pencil board that came with the set. It's so cute. So that's just, you know, a little kind of flip through of my 5-year journal and how I'm keeping up with it, and I'm just loving it. I love it so much. It's beautiful, and I love just how it's such a small little space that is just so easy to fill. Sometimes it almost feels like it's too small, but I think that's a really good thing. I think it's good that it's manageable and easy to keep up with. And of course there's all this extra space if ever I do really truly have a lot more or something else I want to add or keep in here. So yeah, that's what's going on in my 5-year journal. So these are my 3 Hobonichis and how I've been using them for the first month of 2019, and it has just been going so well. I don't know if this is what Planner Peace feels like or what, but I just, you know, maybe 3 books looks quite a bit much, but you know, really this is more a journal. It's not really a planner or a diary or whatever. So, you know, these are kind of the 2 where I organize myself, and I think they're just working really, really well together. I love having everything in one place that I can take around with me and that I can write my kind of appointments and everything in, and that I can keep track of where I'm supposed to be and when. And here is kind of where I do that brain dump every morning sort of a thing, and that's just really helpful for me, setting out what it is I want to do each morning as opposed to writing myself a list. Like I'm not very good at like pre-planning my tasks for a day, or like scheduling in tasks. I know some people will be like, okay, I'm going to do the washing on Monday and clean the bathroom on Tuesday. Like I'm not very good at that. Instead, I like having the kind of general list of, okay, these are the things I want to do for the week in my weeks. And then in the morning when I wake up, I'm like, hey, I have plenty of time this morning. How about I do the washing? You know what I mean? That's kind of how that's how I think better. And I suppose maybe because my energy levels and my mood shift quite a bit, it's also just nice to give myself that flexibility. And I think this book in particular, the A6, is helping me with that. And then I'm just loving this whole this 5-year journal thing idea. I think it's brilliant and I'm loving it. So I am 100% officially a Hobonichi convert. I can't see this changing anytime soon. I'm super happy, and I hope you found this interesting, enjoyed this video. I'll talk to you next time. So much love. Bye.